Hey there, welcome to our IAT 210 Let's Play project. We chose to do our project on Witcher 3. Witcher 3 is a role-playing adventure game played in third-person view, and it's developed by CD Projekt Red, which was released on all platforms on May 19, 2015.
Once we were many.
The game was hugely successful as CD Projekt Red reported that the game had sold 30 million copies as of 2018. And was named Game of the Year in 2015.
Among us, a legend. The one they call Geralt of Rivia, the White Wolf.
The Witcher 3 is an exemplary model of the RPG genre because it allows the player to immerse themselves in the character's position and contains a rich story with strong characters that takes more than 100 hours to finish completely.
And she's in danger.
Witcher 3 would also be considered an adventure type according to Lindsay Grace's game types because the open world allows endless exploration.
When I do, what then?
The object in the game is the protagonist Geralt of Rivia, who is a Witcher and is a highly trained monster hunter for hire. Witchers are trained from early childhood and are mutated to gain superhuman skills, strengths, and reflexes.
White Wolf, at last. I come for her of the prophecy. Every decision you make will bring devastation. Each choice will lead to a greater evil.
The story of Witcher 3 is about Geralt, whose objective is to find Ciri, the child of the prophecy. You have to travel a vast open world with cities, war-ridden lands, and pirate islands in search of her.
She prefers practice to theory.
The game's narrative structure would be linear and interactive because the main storyline is in a linear sequence and in order, but players' choices can influence the plot's outcome. There are also multiple subplots and conversation options that dictate the outcome of the story.
Of course. Is a Witcher school or an elven bathhouse?
The Witcher 3 would be an example of a Padia game as it is unstructured and contains spontaneous gameplay. The game's magic circle is the world itself, which is referred to as the kingdoms in the game. The kingdom is the magic circle because the players are leaving reality and entering the game's boundary once the player steps into the world. Using Parlet's rule analysis, the operational rule of the game requires you not to die during combat and complete missions, or else you will be backtracked to your previous save. The game takes place in a three-dimensional space, since it is a 3D world that requires the character traversing in all directions.
The Witcher 3 is a very good example of a game that offers a lot of player agency. This is because the game is a role-playing game where you control Geralt's decision-making, which will create meaningful outcomes within the game world, especially with his decision on Ciri, as it leads to 3 different endings. As mentioned before, the object is Geralt and he has many attributes. For example, his ability to cast magic spells such as Igni, Axii, Ard, Quen, and Arden. Geralt has 2 techniques of the sword attack. One is the fast attack, which inflicts more hits but less damage. The another is the strong attack, which is slower but has a more powerful strike. These attributes are dynamic because you can upgrade signs and combat to make them stronger using the leveling up system. An example of a static attribute is his Witcher sense. When activated, it helps him find clues and tracks that no average human can find. Witcher senses are highlighted in red for important clues, whereas yellow is used to find loot, herbs, and previously observed objects. Witcher senses are used to help many quests in the game. When Geralt fulfills a contract, which is slaying a challenging monster for pay, Geralt loots the body for a head trophy and mutagens. Different mutagens enhance abilities or can create a special potion. You can add these mutagens in the level up menu. Red mutagens are for combat, blue are for witcher science, green are for alchemy. Also, the head trophies are used to customize Roach, his horse. Each trophy has a certain effect, but only one can be equipped at a time. Geralt has a horse named Roach. Its purpose is to increase the speed of travel in the Witcher world when fast travel isn't an option. It's his only permanent companion in the game. You control Roach by whistling so Roach can come to your character. The game also allows you to customize his saddle that helps Roach get better stamina and speed. Another example of an attribute is alchemy, where Geralt can gather ingredients and craft potions to use during combat in order to increase his effectiveness. These are special potions that only Witchers can consume. These potions can create a certain level of toxicity for Geralt. There is a limit on how much Geralt can consume, or else it will create adverse effects such as death. The resultant actions would be rolling to dodge enemy hits, parrying enemies, cast spells which weaken certain enemies or protect you, also using potions. For example, the spell Quen summons a protective barrier around Geralt. As you can see, Geralt is a very customizable character because you can change his armor from chest piece to gauntlets, his swords, his horse Roach, and even his hair or beard. What makes The Witcher more interesting is the lore provided. In the start menu, you can read about the bestiary, which lets you read on your enemies and learn their weaknesses to plan your future fights. They are categorized by class. You can also read more about the significant characters in the game world. Most characters in the game are based on the Witcher book written by Andrzej Sapkowski. The game is a part of a trilogy that is based on the events after the book. The world provides points of interest to allow the player to gain experience and upgrade the player's armors and weapons. You can sell loot to merchants in order to gain coins and have the option to go to a blacksmith to craft armor or swords with collected resources. The game requires mental skills since you need to be able to attack difficult enemies and make important character progressions and dialogue choices throughout the game. Using Garneau's 14 forms of fun, we can analyze the different forms of fun that can be applied to the game. Beauty is one because the game has amazing graphics, great attention to landscape, and character detail. Immersion is another because it allows the player to experience another environment. Power is another form since you are constantly trying to make the character stronger and obtain stronger weapons. Discovery is another because the player will explore new environments, new enemies, and new weapons throughout the game. Love is another form because you have the choice to romance with some characters, which will have meaningful outcomes on the game's story. Finally, advancement and completion because the game allows you to explore, complete side quests, main missions, and collect. The game is an example of an emergent complexity as the game gets progressively harder and you face tougher enemies as you complete quests and gain experience points to level up your character. The game would connect to the achievement and immersion category of the gamer motivational model. Players who enjoy completing all missions, collecting all upgrades, and fully upgrading their characters would enjoy this game. Also, players who enjoy immersive storylines, interesting characters, and a large fictional fantasy world to explore will love this game. This concludes our assignment. Thanks for watching our video.